So we got some more Republican Civil War stuff here to talk about. You guys know the whole spiel. You have Trump versus DeSantis. That was big. You have Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert versus Kevin McCarthy. You have Steven Crowder versus Ben Shapiro. And you have Steve Bannon, who is still massively Team Trump. And so he's going to really let it all hang out and just lash into Fox News and Rupert Murdoch, because now, in his estimation, they're being totally unfair to Trump. So this is fun. Let's enjoy.
Okay, Murdoch, here's the way it's going to be, brother. You've disrespected Donald J. Trump long enough, okay? He goes to East Palestine and gets the Biden administration. It's a global news event, and you don't cover it live. Is there that much happening on Fox News at 2 in the afternoon that you can't cover him live? He hasn't been on Fox News since he announced for presidency. Let me ask you. Any guy that brought peace to the world for 4 years until the Chinese let off a bioweapon, right? Wouldn't you think, to have respect for the audience, you would have him back up here to talk about the geopolitical? If you had respect for people, wouldn't you do that? They don't respect you. Read the depositions. The deposition, they have a fear, a loathing, and contempt for you. And you're the ones that can make changes. The shareholders, if you want your share price to stay up, you need to take action. The first thing you need to do is get rid of Paul Ryan as an independent director. If Paul Ryan's saying that Trump wins, he's not going to go, then you got to get rid of him. The Murdochs immediately have to start covering President Trump. No special deals. Just cover the man, asking the tough questions. But we need to hear the voice of Donald J. Trump. Hey, and old man Murdoch, while you're at it, why don't you, no more softball interviews to the guys running against him, and no more infomercials, okay? Play it straight. You play it straight, Donald Trump's going to win the primary, and Donald Trump's going to win the presidency.
Look, man, this is what's so interesting about this is how Trump governed for 4 years. This is where his power came from within the party establishment. He ruled through fear. So he got in there as an outsider as defined as not being involved in politics, not holding elected office at any point in time. And so he becomes president. He rises all the way to the top of the ranks. And you have all these politicians and the media industrial complex that are basically trying to leech off his popularity, right? And hop to the front of the line of the movement that is Trumpism. And so all the incentives were there for them to, want to bend the knee to their beloved leader. And what would happen is whenever anybody would buck Trump, even if it's just 2%, some mild disagreement around the edges from other Republicans, he would unleash holy hell on them. So you show him, you give him a little shove, he takes 6 haymakers at your face with his Twitter account or in a speech or whatever, and then you fall in line. Either you fall in line or you go the anti-Trump conservative route and CNN has you on within 7 minutes. And this is how he ruled in the Republican Party. Now, this is totally, there's no comparison to any Democrat. The Democrats rule in a much weaker way. Biden never flexes muscle or strength or popularity and uses the bully pulpit to get his people to fall in line. It's really like the Democratic consultant class that runs the party, and he's just sort of like a figurehead in a way. And so Trump was a break from that. Now, fundamentally, the way he governed, though, like the policies he implemented, it was no different than any other Republican, just establishment Republican policies. He's basically George W. Bush. He's Dick Cheney. As much as he went after a guy like Jeb Bush, he governed like Jeb Bush would govern. But now, in the wake of the last midterm loss, it's very clear to the Republican establishment, to the educated elites, this guy is toxic for our general election chances. He just is. Every non-Trump Republican did well in the midterms. Every Trump-aligned Republican did the worst. Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania. He was at January 6th. He was a big election denier. He lost. He lost big. Carrie Lake was up 5 points going into Election Day, and she ended up losing. Why? Because she leaned into, the election stolen, and I'm one of the most Trumpy candidates in the entire goddamn country. So the elites learned, okay, this guy, he's a problem. We can't win with him. And so they slowly are trying to like pivot away, and they're doing it ever so gently. I mean, basically, you saw with the internal text from their hosts, they know Trump is crazy. They know that the election conspiracies are a lie. They call him a demonic force, but they're like, what am I going to do? I want to be popular, so I got to feed my audience the slop that they want to hear. And so they still end up bolstering Trump's narratives and bolstering Trump, but now they're trying to let DeSantis get in the room, and they're trying to give him positive coverage. And, you know, to the extent they have any strategy in getting past Trump, it's like, just don't talk about Trump as much as possible. And if you have to, just give him like mild, tepid praise. And even with this slight deviation from total support, the hounds are unleashed. And Trump's raging against them on a regular basis. Steve Bannon is raging against them now at CPAC. And it'll just be really interesting to see what happens from here, because he's still up big time in the Republican primary polling. You know, and if I'm Rupert Murdoch, I mean, my strategy would have been from the first red flag. I mean, forget, you know, should have been against him in 2015, right? But from the first red flag, like January 6th, you had an opportunity to put the knife in and twist it. You know, just bury it there. Expose how all the conspiracies are fake, and then never mention him again. Let him run and just don't say a goddamn word, right? Like, and they're starting to slowly go in that direction, but it could be too little too late, as it's always been, because fundamentally these people are all followers. They're going to bend the knee to their daddy, and that's what they're doing. And even though they're trying to let DeSantis in the room, even though they're trying to slowly pivot away from Trump, he's still the kingpin at the moment. He's still the kingpin. So it'll be very interesting to see how Fox News handles this. I mean, you guys saw the clip. We covered it, where they were trying to get a room full of Florida Republicans at 6:30 a.m., a diner. And they were like, who do you support? They were expecting everybody to say DeSantis, but they all said Trump. Even somebody wearing a DeSantis shirt, when they asked her, she goes, Trump or DeSantis? So it'll be interesting. My guess is they'll cuck themselves again. They'll bend the knee again. And then Trump will lay off them as soon as they start sucking him off again. But this is, you know, he's trying to continue to rule through fear. His impact is slightly less than it used to be, because now he's responsible for 3 election losses in a row, but he's still on top. And by the way, the Democrats can learn something from this, can learn something from Trump. And by the way, I honestly believe these strategies that Trump employs is what FDR used to do. You rule through fear. You're the figurehead, you're the most popular, you weaponize that to your advantage, to the advantage of the people in the case of FDR. In the case of Trump, it's just weaponizing it to the advantage of Trump. All he cares about is himself, right? But like, make them fall in line. And Democrats never do that, because of course, you know, Democrats are beholden to the donors in the same way that the Republicans are beholden to their donors. So you're not really nobody's actually a crusader for the right ideas except Bernie Sanders and now Marianne, you know, handful of notable exceptions, but you don't see a Democrat rule like this. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens moving forward, because clearly the elite political class, the Republican media, they want DeSantis, but it's like they created this monster and now they don't know how to kill it. And so it's going to be fun watching them continue to have the identity crisis and struggle in real time how to grapple with, they want DeSantis, but Trump is still the leader, and Trump is going after them, and Bannon's going after them. And I'm here for it, man. I'm enjoying every moment of it as a massive political junkie. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.